ready to read the next chapters of Day of the Dragon King? Here's the cover of the book, in case you didn't see it before. I don't know if you can see it there, but you can see the Dragon King and Jack and Annie. Okay. Chapter 2, The Cowherd. "Oh, wow," Annie said. "These clothes feel so soft. And look, I have a pocket for my secret library card." Jack opened his eyes. Their clothes had magically changed. They no longer wore jeans, t-shirts, and sneakers. Instead, they had on baggy pants, loose shirts, straw shoes, and round hats. Annie's shirt had a pocket in it. Jack saw that his backpack had become a rough cloth sack. Inside were his research book, his notebook, his library card, and the bamboo strip. "Cows," said Annie, looking out the window. Jack looked out too. The treehouse had landed in a lone tree in a sunny field. Cows grazed, and a young man stood watching over them. At the edge of the field was a farmhouse. Beyond the house was a walled city. "It looks so peaceful," said Annie. "You can never be sure," said Jack. "Remember, Pompeii looked peaceful before the volcano went off." "Oh, yeah," said Annie. "Let's see what the book says," said Jack. He reached in the sack and pulled out the China book. He opened it and read aloud. "Over 2,000 years ago, China was ruled by its first emperor. Because he chose the dragon to be his symbol, he was called the Dragon King. In China, dragons are seen as brave and powerful creatures." "Dragon King? That sounds a little scary," said Jack. "I like his outfit," said Annie. Next to the writing was a picture. It showed a man wearing a rich, flowing robe with wide sleeves. He also wore a tall hat with beads hanging from it. Jack pulled out his notebook and wrote, "First emperor called Dragon King. The book we need must be in the Dragon King's library," said Annie. "I bet his palace is in that city." Let's show Jenny the picture. The book of Jack and Annie, and you can see the walled city outside the window there. Okay. All right. Jack looked up. "Right," he said, "and that's how to get there." He pointed across the field to a dirt road that led to the walled city. "Good plan," said Annie. She climbed out of the treehouse and started down the rope ladder. Jack threw the China book and his notebook into his sack. He slung the sack over his shoulder and followed Annie. When they reached the ground, they started through the field. "Look, that guy's waving at us," said Annie. The man tending the cows was shouting and waving. He started running toward them. "Uh-oh, what's he want?" said Jack. A moment later, the man stood in their path. He was young and handsome with a kind face. "Can you do me a great favor?" he asked. "I would be most grateful." "Of course," said Annie. "Give a message to the silk weaver. You will see her at the farmhouse," said the young man. "Tell her to meet me here at twilight." "Sure, no problem," said Annie. The young man smiled. "Thank you," he said. Then he started to leave. "Wait, excuse me," said Jack. "Do you know where we can find the Imperial Library?" A look of horror crossed the man's kind face. "Why?" he whispered. "Oh, I just wondered," said Jack. The young man shook his head. "Beware of the Dragon King," he said. "Whatever you do, beware." Then he turned and ran back to his cows. "Oh, man," whispered Jack. "Now we know one thing for sure." "What?" asked Annie. "This place is not as peaceful as it seems," Jack said. Chapter 3, The Silk Weaver. Jack and Annie kept walking across the pasture toward the road. Annie stopped when they neared the farmhouse. "We have to find the silk weaver and give her the message," she said. "Let's do that on our way back," said Jack. "I'm worried about finding the Imperial Library." "What if we don't have time?" said Annie. "We promised, and he was so nice." Jack sighed. "Okay," he said. Yeah? That's a good spot for your bookmark, huh? Oh, wait a minute. Who gave you that bookmark? Do you remember? Yes. Why don't you look in the camera and say, "Thanks for the bookmark, Aunt Jenny."
You're gonna make it run out of time.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'll keep reading. "Okay," he said, "but let's find her fast. And remember to keep your head down so no one will notice us." Jack and Annie bowed their heads as they headed toward the house. As they got closer, Jack peeked out from under his hat. An ox pulled a cart filled with hay. Men hoed the ground. Women pushed wheelbarrows piled high with grain. "There," said Annie. She pointed to an open porch where a young woman was weaving cloth on a loom. "That must be her." Annie ran to the silk weaver. Jack looked around to see if anyone was watching. Luckily, all the farm workers seemed too busy to notice anything. Still looking around carefully, Jack walked toward the porch. Annie was already talking to the silk weaver. What did he say? The young woman asked. Her voice was soft but strong. Her dark eyes glowed with happiness. He said you should meet him in the field at twilight, said Annie. He's so handsome. Yes, he is. The silk weaver gave Annie a shy smile. Then she reached down to a basket near her loom and picked up a ball of yellow thread. It was very brave of you to bring the message, she said. Please accept this silk thread as my thank you. She handed Annie the ball of silk. It's beautiful, said Annie. Feel. She handed it to Jack. The thread was smooth and soft. How do you make silk? Said Jack. It is made from the cocoons of silkworms, said the weaver. Really? Worms? That's neat, said Jack. Let me write that down. He reached into his sack. Please don't, said the silk weaver. The making of silk is China's most valuable secret. Anyone who steals the secret will be arrested. The Dragon King will have him put to death. Oops, said Jack. He dropped the ball of silk into his sack. I think you must leave quickly, whispered the silk weaver. You have been seen. Jack looked over his shoulder. A man was pointing at them. Let's go, he said. Bye, said Annie. Good luck on your date. Thank you, the silk weaver said. Come on, said Jack. They hurried away from the silk weaver. Stop, someone shouted. Run, said Annie. And that's the end of chapter 3. So we'll read 4 and 5 tomorrow night. Looks like we get a ride into the city. All right, Jenny. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
I want to see the video.